You have devoted your life, I think, to helping create millionaires. And I'm just wondering, how many millionaires do you think you've created in your lifetime with people in your fund?
I don't know, a lot. So a lot of people in my office come to me regularly and they say, Ron, I now have $1 million invested in Barron funds.
The reason I bring it
wow,
up,
that's fantastic, because that means in 4 or 5 or 6 years, you can have $2 million. In 4 or 5 or 6 years, you can have $4 million. 4 or 5, you can have $8 million. So basically, you're going to be able to take care of, take care of your family.
You see what my point is, though? My point is that I think you want policies that create more millionaires. And we now in the U.S. have 10.2 million millionaires, more than the entire population of Sweden. But there is an entire group of people that talk about fairness or income inequality or whatever you want to call it, that, I mean, I don't want to speak for them, but I honestly think some of them are so interested in capping the high end that they forget about how they're going to help people that they're supposedly trying to help raise up on the lower end. But would you ever consider creating millionaires or wealth creation to be a negative and something we should try to legislate against?
I think that most people aspire to become successful and be able to take care of their families and take care of
I think there might be a difference.
Charities.
Can I ask you
Trust fund, let's say a relative of a movie studio, an heiress to a movie studio.
So I watched that interview.
Did that, how did you, what were your feelings?
She was worth hundreds of millions of dollars, $400 or $500 million, I think, and she inherited it.
Is it self-loathing and guilt that she did nothing to earn it that causes the virtue signaling? Or
I don't know.
Did you understand it at all? Andrew's going to have to defend, but why don't you let Ron talk?
Well, it did cost.
You watched it
in Disney. It does cost $100 per person.
That 104.
104 up to 109, and if you're under 9 years old, it costs $97 or something. But for a family of 4, it's $400 a day to go to Disney World, and then on top of that, there's all the food and gifts, and the hotel and the transportation. It's expensive. That's for a middle-class family. How do they afford that? And so I'm all about trying to have people. You know, this goes to our whole investment philosophy. The idea is that the value of your money falls in half every 17 years. And so I was telling some people in my office, I said, my first salary, I pay over 50% in taxes. All the people I work with pay over 50% in taxes. There comes a point where you get upset. My wife says, why do you do this all the time? My first salary was $7,729 in 1966. I was working in the patent office in the daytime, and I was going to law school at night, scholarship. And before that, for a year, I taught biochemistry at Georgetown. And this was at George Washington in the evening. I didn't like that. I didn't get into medical school, taught biochemistry, then I went to law school at night and worked in the patent office at daytime. $7,729. So my friend said, so how often did you get that? I said, every year, got $7,729. That job today is $63,000 starting. And I think that the government's getting a better deal paying $63,000 for the people they're hiring today than paying me.
So they pay taxes.
Let me just ask you in a different way, because I don't think the issue. I mean, look, there are people out there who want to take from the top in a punitive way. I think there are others who look at the system today and say, look, there are people who are getting very wealthy, and there are people who are not. And is the system working in the most efficient way that it possibly can, given the inequality that is taking place? Are the rents, if you will, that frankly take place in the financial world, are they appropriate relative to the fact that, you know, we talked about $400 to go to Disney World, that the average American family, I believe, actually doesn't have $400 in savings. And so the question, I don't think, is about whether you're trying to take from the rich or do something necessarily punitive one way or the other. I think the question is a larger one, just about whether the system unto itself is working. In an age of automation, you look at the Tesla factories, the robots that are taking some of these jobs, globalization and what that's doing in terms of the displacement of jobs. I mean, I think those are the real issues. And again, I don't think this is I think there are people who want to take from the top for their own reasons, but I don't think that. I think there's an issue underneath it that is worth at least having a conversation about.
There we are with having the conversation again. That's what they say when they. Ron,
and look, I want to make as many millionaires as humanly possible, too.
Well, that's different. Not everyone does. And I would only say that I think the average GDP per capita in the United States is now higher than it's ever been in any other country. It's $62,000. The quality of life, the life expectancy, that by every metric, we're living better now than we've ever lived before. And I admit that around the edges, there's things we need to do with education and making it well, let Ron answer. Anyway, Ron.
So we pay over 50% in taxes. W-2 income is over 50% in taxes. When I look at people who have partnerships, for example, hedge funds, and they pay 25% in taxes, that doesn't seem fair to me.
Right.
And they do the same thing we do, except they're just getting paid differently. And so there's nothing that's ever going to be perfect, and nothing that's ever going to work. But this is a great system we have in this country, and a great system. I mean, someone like me can. The
New York Times wrote a piece that the American dream is alive and well in China and no longer in America.
Well, people who live in China want to live in America. When they become successful, they want to live in America. Take surveys. I don't remember the number. But the idea that I have is very simple, that the system does work, and it does work for people if they're educated and able to take advantage. And so,
well, what should we do with taxes, Ron? I mean, do you think that they're progressive enough?
Yes.
You do. What about at the very high end?
I don't think it's fair to have people not paying taxes who are earning a great deal of money. And I do think it's fair for people who are, like me, paying 50% in taxes. I could live in Florida and pay.
But you've amassed a large amount of money, Ron, paying 50%, but now it's totals billions of dollars now. We're told that no one can use that, and that it's almost in a zero-sum game sort of mentality that you can't possibly use that much, and that your heirs don't deserve it, and that it would be better spent if we spread it around, pure redistribution.
If I wanted to live differently, if that was my only goal, to make money so I could spend and buy different, that's not my goal. And so people have different ideas. I wanted to build a business that's going to last, to be able to provide services to individuals that are going to be able to take care of their families.
I hear you.
So look, the value of your money. So three things: the value of your money. This is capitalism. The value of your money in every democracy falls in half every 17 years.
Right.
Every 17 years. That's the $7,729 50 years ago to $64,000 now, 4% a year. 17 years, 18 years. And that's one side. The other side is our economy is growing, is doubling in size every 10 or 12 years. If someone sat me down when I started on Wall Street and said, Ron, you don't have to worry about buying and selling, just buy. And just buy great companies, and when they don't grow anymore or you make a mistake, sell, and just hold for the long term.
I know you want to get back to Tesla just for 1 second.
No, I'm not going to.
No, but just quickly, because Andrew doesn't understand range anxiety. You live a mile from here and you have a driver. All right, Mac, what is your round trip per day, Mac, to the ranch? 250 miles.
So
what's he going to do? He has range anxiety.
So he's going to buy a Tesla with 330 miles.
He has range anxiety.
He's going to buy one with 330 miles, or he's going to take his car, and when he drives into the city, he's going to put it into 250 round trip. So you get here for 125. You're going to have
plug it in.
You're going to have 100 miles left over. You'll plug it in, and you have 75 miles you're able to add in 15 minutes.
How's that sound? Sounds good. All right. Okay. How's the livestock up at the ranch? It's good. He doesn't have a ranch. I was kidding. He doesn't. Anyway.
By the way, Ron's not going anywhere. We're going to talk.
BMW is $40,000. The Tesla's $35,000.
Yeah, so
what would you rather have? And you have to sit in a gas station and burn and ruin the environment?